Greetings. This is the video providing basic instructions for judging at the UO Science Fair, which is coming up in a few weeks. Yay! So, thank you so much for volunteering your time to come judge the fair. For many of the kids participating, this is their first time doing a science fair project, and they've worked really hard. They've learned a whole lot, and they've made tons of mistakes, and they're really eager to share it with you. They're very excited about the prospect of getting to meet like actual scientists, people who study science, because they don't feel like they get a lot of that in their lives. And so it's a special day for everyone. It's also really fun. They're adorable. And this is a pretty low stakes event. Our science fair is really meant to be a gateway entryway for kids to get them, hooked on science. We hope that, we give them this little taste and then they just keep on doing it. That's my bad drug addict joke. Sorry. So, as a judge, you have a few responsibilities. You are going to be working with a partner. We put 2 judges for each category, and you will be judging between probably 6 to 15 projects. We try to keep that around 10 projects each. We usually sort the categories by grade level and then possibly by subject matter of the project. It kind of depends. It's different every year. Some years we get a lot of applicants from one particular age group. Sometimes we get them spread out. So we categorize them as best we can, and we try to match your expertise to your category as best we can. But again, they're elementary and middle school age projects, so you got it. They will be presenting a very traditional trifold board project in most cases. They are allowed to bring in props and things as long as it fits in the space and isn't anything that's going to be toxic or spill all over the place or something like that. So we don't really have any rules as far as deducting points for not allowed things. They know that they're supposed to check with us ahead of time before they bring in anything too cumbersome, but other than that, it's good. They're allowed to have electronic aids if they've got a video or something. That's great. We don't mind at all. The better the presentation is, the better they can communicate their science. So, what will happen the day of the fair is we ask you to show up at 11 a.m. and there will be a judging room with donuts. And that will be the time where we will go over this information again, and really hopefully just more answer questions that this video didn't answer or things that come up on the day of. You will receive a clipboard. It will have the rubrics for the projects that you're supposed to judge, which will be numbered by category and project number. All the projects should be placed together out in the atrium, so you shouldn't have too much trouble finding them and moving along through them. So you'll have your clipboard, you'll have a rubric for each project, which should have the name of the students and the name of the project and the project number. If you run into any issues of things not matching up, come back to the judging room and let us know. There's always things that happen. Sometimes they just change their project title, and that's fine. I mean, if it looks like it's pretty much the same project and same kids, just a little name change, no biggie. If something's really messed up, come back and we'll figure it out. You and your partner have the choice of if you want to go through the projects together and interview the kiddos as a pair, or if you want to split up and do it separately. That's your choice. There's benefits to both. Going together means that when you're done interviewing them, you can tell the kid like, okay, we're good. We've seen your project. You can go run off and play at the fair, because we have lots of fun activities going on the side. The upside of splitting up is that, that last kid doesn't have to wait the whole time for judging to come. So it's really up to you and your partner how you want to handle that. I try to be pretty hands-free about that. Your responsibilities as far as judging are pretty well lined out by the rubrics that you will get, which turns out I don't have in front of me. But there's a front and a back, and on the front there'll be the pre-printed information about the project, and then there will be a list of things, which are mostly the components that need to appear on the board, and you can rank those in terms of quality and informativeness. And there are a few other things in terms of presentation and communication. And then on the back side is a place for comments. We really encourage you to please do make those comments. It's usually easier to do that after you've spoken to the children and then go back into the judging room and fill them out. You're also welcome to go back out and look at the projects more, to discuss with your partner if you guys have some, you want to bounce ideas off one another, although you don't have to agree. Your ratings are your own. But we do strongly encourage you to put those comments on the backside, especially if you're giving the project a low rating. It's really frustrating for the kiddos to have their project rated low and then not have some feedback on what could make it better. If you're giving them low rankings, please be very positive. Find something nice to say about the project. and give them a little bit of help. If you marked it all fantastic, then you don't need to spend a lot of time on comments, but I mean, they really do appreciate getting those comments, so it helps them understand where your rating was coming from. Definitely for this one, err on the side of kindness. They're kids. They're just learning about their projects and stuff, and we want to be pretty nice on this one. In the judge's handbook, which will be linked up on our website and you will get a copy of at the fair, there are some expectations by grade level and by area of the project board. So this will actually, tell you what you should see in there, particularly broken down by elementary school versus middle school students and what we expect. And, if you're looking at a kindergarten project, the bar is pretty low. Although, honestly, kindergartners who enter our fair usually just completely clean up. They do fantastic. I also like to make a note about hypothesis. We really try and emphasize in our workshops that the hypothesis is there to sort of set things up and help guide how we're doing our project and what we think about our project, but it is not meant to be the right answer. It's not like a test, and if their answers didn't match their hypothesis, that's just fine. I mean, you know that, but I like to really hammer that home for them because it's not always obvious to them. Sometimes they feel like they failed if they didn't get the answer they expected. What I really love is when they talk about like, yeah, I expected this and I saw this, and now that I've done it and I have experienced it, I realize like this is why, this is where my thinking was then, here's where my thinking is now, here are the questions I have going forward. I love that. That's really great. And we do also have a page, some hints for judging different kinds of projects and things to think about, like presentation. Did the student clearly discuss the question, hypothesis, research design, and conclusions? Was the presentation orderly looking? Were the results clearly presented? Does it seem like, yes, the student really did do this project, it wasn't done for them by someone else? Does the display clearly explain the project? Now, that being said, we do not require that the students be there to present their project. Obviously, it's much better when they are. But they have soccer practice, they have things they have to do, they can't always make it. Most of these projects are done by groups, which is great because then one kid can represent if other kids have things to do. But it's not a requirement, so don't mark them down if there's no one there to present the project at the time. But, I mean, that being said, having the kid there to talk about the project is always... it's going to be better because you're going to get a better understanding of their thinking and what they learned from it. So you are judging how they're talking about it, but you're not dinging them for not being there, if that makes any sense. And some kids, they'll be really ready to just talk about it and it'll all just come spilling out. Others may need a little prompting. So we also have some little notes for interacting with students. The questions you can ask them to help sort of get them opened up, especially if you have a shy kid. How did you decide on the project? What information did you learn while you were doing your background research? How long did it take you to build your apparatus or run your experiment? Did you have any hiccups along the way? What was that like? How many times did you collect the data? Can you show us how it worked? Did you find any resources you found particularly helpful? And then at the end, before you go on, there's two things I really like to ask, and one is there anything we haven't talked about that you think would be really important for us as the judges to know? And then the other one is, do you have any questions for us? And then when you're done with the student, say thank you very much for sharing your project and that you're going to move on. And if you're the last judge to talk to that student, let them know like, oh, we're judging together. It's okay. You can run away and have fun. Or I'm the first judge. Another judge will be coming, just so you don't want the second judge not to see the kid because they thought that they were done and should move along. So just keep them informed. Now, if during the process that you're out there judging, parents are stopping you and asking questions, send them to us. Ask them to look for someone in a lab coat who will send them probably to someone else in a lab coat, but I'll probably be wearing a red lab coat to ask questions and stuff. I mean, you can ask them you can answer general judging questions for them. You can show them how the rubrics work. That's fine. But as far as technicality of the fair and everything, you can say like, oh, I'm just a judge, I'm not running the fair, go check with the folks up at the information desk and they'll help you out with that. I think those are all of the basic things. So we've got 2 hours to judge, so it'll be between 11:30 and 1:30 to try and get all that judging done. And some people are able to judge really quickly and some people take a lot longer, especially for write-up. The sooner you can get us those ballots, the better, because we have to total everything up in time for the award show, at 2:30. So also, if you want to take more time to write up comments, but you have your scores, you can come bring those up to us, and we'll type them in, and then you can take your ballots back to write your comments on. That helps us out sometimes. Only if you're getting really like up against that wall and we're sitting there staring at you like, please finish. Your duties wrap up as soon as you turn your ballots into us, although if you could hang around a little bit afterwards, we like to just flip through them and see if we have any questions for you. You're very welcome to enjoy the fair, and if you're volunteering to help out with other stuff, thank you so much. I will probably stop rambling there. I know you'll have questions that I didn't answer here in the video, but we can definitely do those the day of. Just make sure to have fun. If you're not having fun, that would be terrible. This should be fun because even the worst project is adorable. Some of them are just outright hysterically funny and creative. Some of them may have sad stories behind them, but they all have a story behind them, and it's really great. And once again, we really appreciate you volunteering with us and hope you enjoy it. I've been told by people who've done it in the past that it's a hoot, and they really like it. Thanks a lot.